The last stand, the sky was burning. Black smoke rolled over the battlefield, and red fire lit the ruins like the mouth of a dying world. Broken ships lay scattered across the valley, their metal bones still glowing from plasma strikes. The air was thick with ash, the ground trembling under distant explosions. She was alone. The alien girl pressed her forehead against the neck of her beast. Its fur was dark with blood, its breathing rough and shallow. She held it tightly, her arms wrapped around its body as if she could stop death itself from reaching it. The beast's great chest rose and fell, each breath weaker than the last. Her eyes stung from smoke, but she did not cry. There were no tears left. She had already lost her people, her city, her family. Now, all that remained was this creature, her only friend, her last companion dot above them. Enemy ships circled like vultures. Their searchlights swept across the ruins, looking for survivors. She knew if they found her, there would be no mercy. She would die here, clutching her beast, her story ending in silence. But still, she stayed. She did not run. Her hands shook as she whispered into the beast's ear, her voice soft but broken. "Stay with me, just a little longer. Don't leave me too." The beast opened one golden eye, its gaze filled with loyalty, even as life drained from it. It had carried her through battles, across deserts, through storms. And now, in the heart of fire, it still refused to let go. The ground rumbled again. She raised her head. Shadows moved through the smoke. Heavy boots crunched on broken stone. She froze, her body tensing. The enemy had found her. She pulled her dagger from her belt. Weapon too small to matter, but it was all she had. She would fight until the end. If they wanted her beast, they would have to kill her first. The shadows grew closer. Her heart pounded, her breath sharp and quick. She could hear the scrape of armor, the hiss of plasma rifles charging. She lifted the dagger with both hands. Though her arms trembled, "This is it," she thought. "The end has come." But then, the sound changed, that it was not the heavy clank of enemy boots. It was lighter, more human. A steady rhythm of steps, each one deliberate, cutting through the chaos around her. She narrowed her eyes, trying to see through the smoke. A figure was moving toward her, tall, broad-shouldered, weapon in hand. The glow of fire lit his outline. Her first thought was fear. The humans were dangerous. She had heard stories, how they fought like demons, how they never surrendered, how their rage burned hotter than any star. If this was a human soldier, he would kill her without hesitation. Still, she did not back away. The beast growled weakly at her side, baring teeth, though it could barely stand. She placed her hand on its neck to calm it. Her eyes stayed fixed. On the figure walking out of the flames, the man stopped a few steps away. His armor was scratched, his rifle slung at his side. He looked at her, then at the beast, then back at her again. For a long moment, there was silence. Just the crackle of fire and the distant thunder of war. Her hands tightened on the dagger. "Do it," she whispered under her breath. "End it quickly." But the man didn't raise his weapon. Instead, he slowly extended his hand. His palm was open. His voice was low, calm, steady. "If you want to live," he said, "trust me." The girl blinked. She did not understand. Why would a human spare her? Why would he reach for her instead of striking her down? Her heart pounded harder. She looked at the beast, then at the soldier's hand. Smoke swirled around them, the world burning. Yet in that moment, she felt something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. But hope was dangerous. Hope could kill her faster than despair. She shook her head, clutching her beast tighter, her dagger, trembling in her grip. Still, the human did not move. He did not attack. His hand remained outstretched, steady, waiting. The girl's breath caught in her throat. Somewhere deep inside, a question rose like a whisper. Could it be true? Could he really want to save me? She had no answer. Not yet, but as the fire raged around them and the enemy's ships drew closer, she knew one thing with certainty. Her story was not over. Not yet. Asterisk the stranger's hand. The human's hand stayed. In the air, steady and calm, while fire burned all around. The girl's dagger shook in her grip. She wanted to believe it was a trick, yet his eyes told a different story. They were not cold, not cruel like the enemy's eyes. They were sharp, yes, but not empty. There was something inside them, something alive, something human. Her beast growled low, a weak rumble, as if warning her. Do not trust too easily. The man lowered his rifle slowly to the ground, letting her see that he would not shoot. Then he took another step closer. His voice cut through the smoke, rough but calm. You're hurt, he said, and your beast won't last much longer if you stay here. The girl's throat tightened. How could he know? She had been hiding. Her friend's wounds, shielding it from every gaze. But somehow, this human saw the truth at once. She pulled the beast tighter, shaking her head. Why? She asked, her voice raw. Why do you care? For a moment, the soldier said nothing. His jaw clenched. His eyes flickered, as if remembering something painful. Because I lost mine. He said at last. The words struck her like a blade. Lost what? His people? His beast? His family? She could not ask. The air shook again with distant thunder. Enemy drones buzzed through the smoke, scanning the ruins. They had little time. The soldier looked at her with urgency now. If you stay, you'll die. If you come with me, maybe you live. Her dagger trembled. Her heart wanted to believe. Her mind told her to run. Her beast coughed out a weak sound, half growl, half whine. Its great head turned, pressing against. Her arm as if urging her. She looked down at it. What do we do? She whispered. The beast's golden eye flicked toward the human. Her chest tightened. Even her beast seemed to know the answer. With shaking hands, she lowered the dagger just slightly. The soldier did not move too fast, only took a step closer. Slowly, carefully, he reached out again. Then, for the first time, his hand touched hers. It was warm. The warmth startled her. In a world of cold fire and death, his hand felt alive, steady, human. It was not the hand of an enemy. It was the hand of someone who wanted her to live. Her breath caught, her chest heavy with doubt and hope. She wanted to pull away, but her hand refused to move. The soldier crouched beside the beast. His hand shifted to its neck, feeling the pulse. His brow furrowed. He's tough, the man muttered, almost with respect. But he won't last long without care. The girl's eyes widened. This human, this stranger, was touching her beast without fear, without hesitation. Most others would never dare. Come, he said, standing again. There's a safe place nearby. I can treat him there. She stared at him. Safe? She asked. There is no safe. He gave a bitter half-smile. Maybe not, but safer than this. She looked back at the fire, the ruins, the shadows moving closer in the smoke. The enemy was near. She had no choice. Slowly, with trembling strength, she rose. The beast whined, trying to follow. The soldier moved quickly, kneeling and lifting the great creature across his shoulders. It was heavy, yet he carried it without complaint. The girl gasped. You'll fall. I won't, he cut in. His voice was steel. He motioned with his head. Stay close, and keep that dagger ready. This won't be easy. Together, they moved into the smoke. The girl followed, her dagger tight in her hand. Her eyes never left the human's back as he carried her wounded beast through fire and ash. For the first time, she was not alone, but she still did not know if she had made a mistake. because trust, she knew, could save her or destroy her. And as shadows moved in the smoke behind them, she realized something else. The true danger was only beginning. Asterisk. Flight through fire, the ruins stretched before them like a graveyard. Shattered towers leaned against the smoky sky, their glass eyes broken, their bones glowing from fire. Every step through the rubble felt louder than thunder, and every shadow might hide an enemy. The soldier carried the beast across his shoulders, the girl close behind him. His movements were strong, steady, but his breathing was rough, a sign of the weight he carried. Yet he did not slow. Not once. She followed her, dagger clutched tight, her heart racing. Each crack of stone beneath her boots made her flinch. She kept looking back, sure they were being followed, and she was right dot far above. A red drone drifted through the smoke, its single eye glowing. It hovered, scanning the ruins. Its metallic voice crackled in the air. Searching, searching. The girl froze. The soldier turned his head, eyes sharp. He set the beast down gently against a wall and raised his rifle, his jaw tight. Stay quiet, he whispered. The girl crouched beside her beast, pressing a hand against its side to keep it calm. She tried to steady her breathing, but her chest felt heavy with fear. The drone moved closer, its red eye glowing brighter. The soldier waited, finger on the trigger. At the last second, he fired. A sharp blast lit the ruins, the drone shrieking. Before crashing into the rubble, the sound echoed like thunder. The girl's heart dropped. She knew what would come next. The ground shook as heavy boots marched closer. Voices shouted in the distance, metallic and cruel. The enemy had heard. There. Coming, she whispered. The soldier grabbed the beast again, slinging it over his shoulders. Run, he said. Now. They moved fast, weaving through broken walls and burning streets. The girl's legs ached, her lungs burned, but she kept running. The soldier never looked back, only forward, his grip on her beast strong as iron. Blasts lit the ground around them as plasma bolts struck. Sparks flew, rubble exploded. The enemy was close. The girl gasped, fear twisting in her chest. We'll never make it. The soldier's voice cut through the chaos. We will. His words were not a promise. They were a command. They leapt over fallen beams, pushed through shattered doors. The girl stumbled once, nearly falling, but the soldier's free hand caught her arm and pulled her forward without slowing. Her heart pounded, not only with fear, but with something else. She had never seen such strength, such will. He carried both her and her beast, and still fought to keep them alive. The beast let out a weak groan against his shoulder. Its golden eye flickered open, looking at her. She pressed her hand to its face, whispering, "Hold on, please, just hold on." Another blast struck nearby, throwing fire into the air. They fell to the ground, covering their heads. The soldier rolled over, shielding both her and the beast with his own body. The girl stared at him in shock. He did not even think of himself. Only them. When the fire died, he stood again, his armor scorched, his face streaked with ash. He looked at her with steel in his eyes. Move. We're close. She didn't ask where. She didn't need to. She just followed. They pushed deeper into the ruins, the noise of the enemy fading behind them. After what felt like hours, the soldier finally stopped at a half-collapsed building. He kicked open a metal door and guided her inside. The air was cooler here, shadows thick around them. Broken furniture and cracked walls gave the place the smell of dust and old fire. The soldier set the beast down gently, his hands quick as he searched his pack. He pulled out strange tools, small vials, and bandages. The girl blinked. You? You're a healer? He gave a short laugh, shaking his head. No, just a soldier who learned how to keep people alive. He knelt beside the beast, pressing cloth against its wounds. The beast growled weakly, but did not resist. His hands were firm, careful, gentle. The girl watched him work, her dagger loose now in her lap. For the first time, her fear was quieter than her curiosity. This human, this stranger, was risking everything for her. She could not understand why her voice was soft. Why save me? He did not look up. His hands moved with steady focus. Because I couldn't save the last one, the girl froze. His words were heavy, filled with a pain she could feel even without knowing his story. For the first time, she lowered her dagger completely. The soldier wrapped the last bandage around the beast and leaned back with a sigh. He'll live, for now. The girl placed her hand on the beast's fur, tears stinging her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. The soldier finally looked at her. His eyes were tired but steady. Don't thank me yet. The enemy won't stop. They'll come again. She met his gaze, her fear mixing with something else, trust. For the first time, she began to wonder if this human's hand might not only save her beast, but her. And outside, in the smoke-filled ruins, the sound of marching boots grew louder once more. The bond of survival. The old building was silent, but outside the war still raged. The girl sat close to her beast, stroking its fur with trembling hands. The soldier knelt nearby, his eyes sharp as he checked the shadows through a cracked wall. For a moment, she just listened to the sound of his breathing. Steady, strong, not like hers, broken and shaky. The beast shifted, letting out a soft groan. Its chest rose and fell with effort, but the bandages held. When the soldier had cleaned the wounds, the girl had expected the beast to snap at him, but instead it had lain. Still, almost trusting, she looked at him, confused. Why does he let you touch him? She asked softly. He bites anyone else. The soldier's mouth curved into a faint, tired smile. Animals know, he said simply. They can tell who means harm and who doesn't. His words settled in her chest like a stone. For the first time, she wondered if she had misjudged him. The firelight flickered through the broken wall, lighting his face in gold and shadow. He looked older up close, his eyes lined with exhaustion. Yet there was something unbroken in him, something solid. She hugged her knees to her chest. I thought humans were monsters, she admitted. My people said you were ruthless, that you fought without mercy. He didn't flinch. Maybe that's true. We fight hard. We don't forgive easily. He looked at her, his eyes steady. But monsters don't carry the wounded through fire. Her breath caught. She turned away, unable to hold his gaze. For a while, silence hung between them, broken only by the faint crackle of flames outside. Then the soldier spoke again, his voice quieter. What's his name? She blinked, surprised. Who? Your beast, he said, nodding toward the creature lying beside her. Her lips parted. For so long, no one had asked. No one had cared. She hesitated, then whispered, Kale. The soldier nodded once. Kale, he repeated, as if promising to remember it. His hand brushed the beast's fur gently. He's a fighter, just like you. Her chest tightened. No one had ever said that to her before. Before she could reply, the soldier stiffened. His head turned toward the broken wall. The girl froze. She heard it too. Footsteps, voices, enemy scouts. Her heart raced. She gripped her dagger, her body trembling. The beast tried to lift its head, but fell back with a weak growl. The soldier motioned for silence. He moved closer to the wall, peering through the cracks. Shadows moved outside, their armor glowing faintly red in the smoke. There, a voice. Hissed. Tracks. They came this way. The girl's pulse pounded. If they searched the building, they were finished. The soldier crouched beside her, his face close, his voice a whisper. We can't fight them head on. Too many. But if we stay quiet, they might pass. She nodded, pressing a hand over Cale's. Muzzle to keep him still. The footsteps grew louder. Closer. One scout's silhouette appeared at the doorway. His weapon raised, scanning the dark. The girl held her breath so tightly, her chest ached. The soldier's finger tightened on his rifle, but he didn't fire. Not yet. The scout stepped inside. His boots crunched on the floor. His red visor swept. Across the room, her heart screamed inside her chest. She gripped her dagger until her knuckles turned white. Cale let out a faint growl, too soft to be heard, but the soldier moved his hand quickly, pressing down to quiet him. The scout turned, his head, visor glowing. For a moment, it looked right at them. The girl's breath caught. Then, a shout came from outside. Sector clear. Move on. The scout turned, stepping back out the door. His shadow vanished into the smoke. The girl collapsed against her beast, her body shaking. She had been seconds from death. The soldier lowered his rifle, exhaling slowly. He looked at her. Back was close. She stared at him, her eyes wide. You didn't shoot? He shook his head. Not unless I had to. Sometimes silence saves more lives than bullets. His words lingered in her mind. Silence saving lives? It was not what she expected from a human. For a long moment, she just looked at him. His armor was burned, his face streaked with dirt, yet his eyes remained sharp, alive. She realized something she had never thought before. This human was not her enemy. He was her bond of survival. Asterisk. The battle of trust, the silence after the scouts left, felt heavy, like the air itself was waiting. The girl sat close to Cale, her beast breathing slowly but steady. The soldier remained by the wall, rifle ready, his eyes scanning the smoke outside. For a short moment, she thought they were safe. But then the sound came distant at first, then louder, the stomp of boots. Many boots that her heart sank. The scouts had not left. They had called reinforcements. The soldier's jaw tightened. He turned to her. They know. They're coming. Fear burned inside her chest. She shook her head. We can't fight an army. We'll die. The soldier's gaze was sharp, unshaken. We might, but if we don't fight, they'll kill us anyway. Her hands trembled on the dagger. She wanted to believe him, but every part of her screamed to run, to hide, to give up. Then Cale shifted. With a deep, painful growl, the beast pushed itself onto unsteady legs. It staggered but stood tall, its golden eyes glowing weakly in the shadows. The girl gasped. Cale, no, you're too weak. But Cale growled again, stepping forward. The beast's body shook, but its will burned bright. It was ready to fight, ready to protect. The soldier looked at Cale with something like respect. Then he turned to her. Looks like he trusts me. Do you? The words struck her harder than the roar of war outside. Did she? Could she? Her people had told her to hate humans, to never trust them. Yet here one stood wounded, weary, still carrying her beast when she could not. A man who shielded her body with his own in the fire. Her breath trembled. She met his eyes. Yes, she whispered. I do. The soldier gave a single nod, then checked his rifle. Then stay close. And when the time comes, don't hesitate. The girl tightened her grip on her dagger. Her beast growled low. Together they stood. The first enemy squad entered the ruins. Red visors glowed through the smoke. Rifles raised. The soldier opened fire. Plasma bolts cut the air, shattering walls and striking metal. The enemy roared in response, returning fire. Sparks lit the darkness like stars exploding. The girl crouched behind broken stone, her heart racing. The soldier moved like a shadow, every shot precise, every motion controlled. He fought not like a monster, but like a man who had lost too much and refused to lose again. The enemy closed in. One soldier broke through the smoke, charging at her with a blade. Her breath caught. Her body froze. Kale lunged. With a roar, the beast slammed into the attacker, throwing him against the wall. Blood and sparks flew as Kale snapped its jaws, even through pain. The girl's fear turned to fire. She screamed, driving her dagger into another enemy's side as he leapt toward her. The blade sank deep. For the first time, she fought not for herself, but for the bond she now shared. The battle raged. Fire lit the ruins, smoke choking the air. The soldier fought at her side, Kale striking like thunder despite its wounds. The girl's dagger flashed again and again. The soldier's rifle sang fire. Together, they carved through the enemy squad like a storm breaking chains. Her heart pounded. With something new strength, not despair, not fear, strength. At last, the last enemy fell, smoke curling from his armor. The ruins grew quiet again, broken only by their ragged breathing. The girl leaned against Kale, her chest heaving. Blood covered her hands, her face streaked with ash. She looked at the soldier, his armor scorched, his rifle empty. Their eyes met. And for the first time, she understood what her people had never told her. Humans did not fight only with weapons. Fought with trust, with bonds, with something stronger than fear. She had trusted him, and because of that, they had survived. The soldier wiped blood from his face, his voice rough but steady. "You fought well." The girl swallowed hard, her throat tight. "We fought together." Kale let out a deep, tired growl, pressing its head against both of them. The beast was weak, but alive. For a brief, fragile moment, they stood as one beast, girl and human, bound by fire, by battle, by survival. Far in the distance, the war still raged. And though they had won this fight, the true storm was still coming. Asterisk saved by a human's touch. The ruins were silent again, but silence after battle was never peace. Smoke drifted through broken walls, and the smell of blood clung to the air. The girl sat beside Kale, her beast leaning heavy against her. Its golden eyes blinked slowly, still alive, still fighting to breathe. The soldier stood nearby, his rifle hanging loose at his side. His armor was burned, his face marked by ash, yet he stood tall, scanning the shadows as if expecting more enemies. The girl reached down, pressing her hand against Kale's fur. Warm, faint, but steady. He had survived. Against every chance, he had survived. She lifted her head, her eyes finding the soldier. "You saved him?" she whispered. Her voice cracked, soft but sure. "You saved us both." The man shook his head. "No, he saved you. I only gave him time." But she knew it was more than that. His hands, those strong, steady human hands, had carried her beast through fire. They had wrapped his wounds, shielded his body, lifted him when she could not. Without those hands, Kale would already be gone. Without those hands, she would already be gone. Her heart trembled. For so long, she had been told humans were ruthless. But now she saw the truth. Their hands could destroy, yes, but they could also heal. The soldier crouched beside Kale again, checking the bandages. His touch was firm but gentle, careful not to cause pain. The girl watched him closely. She could not look away. When he finished, he leaned back with a sigh. "He'll live," he said quietly. "He'll scar, but he'll live." Tears stung. Her eyes. She pressed her face against Kale's fur, whispering thanks over and over, not just to her beast, but to the man beside her, For the first time since the war began, she felt something she thought had died long ago. Hope. The soldier rose, looking out through the cracked wall. The glow of enemy fire still burned in the distance. "This isn't the end," he said. His voice was calm, steady, almost heavy. "They'll come again. They won't stop." The girl swallowed hard, fear tugging at her chest. "Then what? Do we do?" He turned, his gaze meeting hers. His eyes were sharp, but not cold. There was something unyielding in them, something that made her chest feel lighter despite the darkness outside. "We fight," he said. "Not alone. Together." The words struck her like fire. Together. Her people had told her humans could not be trusted, but now she had seen the truth with her own eyes. Trust had kept her alive. Trust had saved Kale. Trust had given her something worth holding on to in a world of ashes. Slowly, with trembling hands, she reached out. The soldier blinked, surprised. But then he understood. Her hand, small and scarred, slid into his. His hand closed around hers, warm, steady, strong. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe. Not all endings were death. Some endings were beginnings. The beast shifted, laying its great head across both of them, its golden eyes watching. It rumbled low in its chest, as if sealing the bond they had forged. The girl whispered, almost to herself, "Maybe monsters do have mercy. Maybe the stories were wrong." The soldier shook his head. "We're not monsters. We're just human." The words hung in the air, heavy but true. Outside, the war thundered on, but inside the broken ruin, a new fire burned, quiet, small, but unbreakable. 3 lives bound by survival. A girl who had lost everything, a beast scarred but still standing, and a human who had reached out his hand instead of pulling the trigger. The galaxy did not yet know what had begun in the ruins of fire. But one day, it would, because the girl now believed in something she had never believed in before. She believed in humanity. Asterisk.